Okay, this is crazy. Watch this. Just so you see it right here. That's a symbol on this thing. Watch this. Look at that. Look at that.
How is that even
I
possible?
don't know, but that's freaking awesome. And in the middle of the eye is like so beautiful, dude. Ah, stripping my car out right now. Like the screen just went dark. Yeah, I'm sorry. Watch this, dude. Actually, I'm kind of scared. Should we pull over? Because what if this like the car just rams into a freaking wall? All right, so this is one of the things where you just had to be there to see it. All right, so this is the ball I found in my live. It's just moving on its own. I don't have the force. So here it is about.
So this is an amazing discovery. I mean, once in a generation, a lifetime, guys. I just posted this on my other channel, Melanie Offscript. The link will be below in the description box, but you have to watch it because I'm afraid the government is going to come and take this from this guy. He essentially just discovered and captured and brought home a Bet's sphere. Guys, we're talking about UAP, you know, technology. Of course, you guys know I don't believe in aliens, but it relates back to the orbs that I am finding all around my house lit up in the sky. Well, he was actually able to capture a version of this or one of them. And it is quite amazing. It's shocking. And it's no one really knows about it right now. And it is not AI. You can watch him on the live streams showing this thing and it's moving. I give a full breakdown, explanation of it. And when the first sphere was discovered and how the government actually tricked the family that found it and and took it and they never saw it again. Now this was decades ago, but now for the first time we're seeing this. This relates to the video that we're about to do right now because we are in the age of disclosure. The government has said this. We know last year they came out with the documentary where I think there was over 30 government officials in this documentary, Age of Disclosure, which was also the people who did it. They worked with the CIA, and then the same people working with the film Disclosure Day that is supposed to come out this June, where they're revealing aliens. So right now we saw with Barack Obama saying that there's aliens. Trump has said that he's going to disclose this fully, but you have to understand all of this truth is coming out now, especially we see with the Epstein files. And it's all coming out at this rapid pace and it's almost like breakneck speed and we can't keep up with it. But I wanted to make sure you guys saw this because you need to watch it and follow and support this guy because guys, this is wild. I don't know if anyone else who has found this type of thing and this type of discovery. And just know that this is we are I'm when I tell you that we are in the last days and that's why the veil is being lifted and all of these things are being discovered and truth and well what they call conspiracy theories are now being brought to light. And that relates, like I said, back to what I'm going to show you about the founding of our country and getting more into this whole age of disclosure. And if you really are tracking and if your eyes are open, you're going to see how this all relates.
Who can tell me what DC stands for? District of Columbia. So our country is ruled by the District of Columbia. Well, who's Columbia? Well, we walk over there to the Capitol building, and there's Columbia perched on top. Well, we walk into the Capitol building, and there's the original sculpture that the one on the roof was made from, right there. And we go into this is in the visitor center. We go into the movie theater place there when they give you a little movie on the history of the making of the Capitol building. And it starts off by calling it the Temple of Liberty. And I turned to my wife, temple? Temples are for gods. What God? Well, we just passed her in the hallway. Who is she? Who is Columbia? She is known as the Queen of Heaven. All throughout the scriptures, all throughout ancient history, throughout many cultures, she has many names. Semiramis being one of them. Ishtar, from which we get Easter. Isis, Columbia, Liberty, Diana, Venus.
Take note, one of the names of this demonic being God is liberty. Okay, if you don't understand all the language and the words that we have been indoctrinated with, you in understanding the etymology of it, where it comes from, they have taught us things like life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But liberty is literally the name of this demonic being that is in the capital. But this is all going to tie together for you, and specifically with Nimrod, or as he's known in the Bible. But then, as he's known, he has many different names depending on the civilization or the culture. But most people know him as Gilgamesh. Now, remember from Pizzagate, Hillary Clinton was looking for the DNA of Gilgamesh because the tomb was discovered in Iraq, because Saddam Hussein thought he was the reincarnation of Nebuchadnezzar and found the tomb of Gilgamesh as well as the Stargate. As I've told you guys, that is the real reason we went into Iraq, because as soon as they found out about this, well, we went there and we built a military base right over that site. And during that time, there was a bunch of news about this entire thing, but then all of a sudden it just went dead silent, which is what usually happens when they hush things up and it goes quiet. And of course, the mainstream media goes along with it, right? And we know this, that they hide the truth. But that was considered the first Project Stargate. And now the AI data centers here in the US are called Project Stargate. Okay, so this all links back even to Epstein and the DNA manipulation and things that they're trying to do. If you don't have your eyes open and understand how we were actually founded and how this ties together, they will have you fight in a battle that is essentially a psyop. It is.
These are just a few of her names. Just like Nimrod, she's the wife of Nimrod, Semiramis. Cush had a daughter named Semiramis, whom he later married, his own daughter, and produced Nimrod. Okay, so that means that Semiramis is Nimrod's half-sister and mother. And then Nimrod turns around and marries Semiramis. So now his wife is also his half-sister and mother. You could walk into the Capitol Dome in Washington, D.C., look up into the womb of Isis, because that's what the Capitol Dome is, the womb of Isis, with the phallic symbol down the road of Osiris's missing piece, the Washington Monument, right? This picture right here is called the Apotheosis of George Washington. Look up in the Capitol Dome, and that's what you're going to see. Surrounded by 72, which is a high occult number, pentagrams, which are known as binding pentagrams. That's how the ancients believe they can, and the occult believes they can control demons. You got George right here in heaven. The apotheosis means ascending into godhood. That's what apotheosis means, okay? If this is supposedly heaven, you might think you'd see, maybe the saints, see, Yeshua up there, see the angels, Michael, Gabriel. No, that's not what you see. You see Neptune, you see Vulcan, you see the Greek pantheon hanging up there with deified George in the Capitol building. And not to be outdone, when Abraham Lincoln died, they started putting out postcards and whatnot showing the apotheosis of Abraham Lincoln. I bet you've probably never seen this before. They've tucked it away. It used to be out in the outdoors. They put it inside a museum now. This is George Washington posing as a god. Which god? Zeus. This is a depiction of Zeus from the Temple of Zeus, which is one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Also, it's the same pose as the occult symbol for Baphomet. Oh, this is a Christian nation. Yeah, okay. And if you look at the entire layout of Washington, D.C., it's all occult. Look at all the buildings. It's all after Greek mythology, too. But most notably, if you think about our founding of our nation, it's all about 13, isn't it? 13 colonies, 13 stripes, 13 stars, 13 this, 13 that, the Great Seal of the United States, 13 steps on the Great Pyramids, on the Great Seal. What the heck is an Egyptian pyramid doing on our currency in the first place? Right? What does that have to do with anything about our nation? Yeah. And by the way, that's not an eagle there either. Manly P. Hall, one of the most prolific writers of Freemasonry, says anytime they depict an eagle with a point on the back of its head, it's really a stylized phoenix. Aha, we fooled you. It's not an eagle. It's a phoenix. In Egyptian mythology, the phoenix was the Benu. The Benu was the dying and resurrecting soul bird of Osiris. Okay? 13 steps on the Great Seal's pyramid, 13 letters in the Latin phrase annuet coeptis, 13 letters in e pluribus unum, 13 stars above the eagle's head there in the shape of the Star of David, which has nothing to do with David. 13 bars on the shield, 13 leaves on the olive branches, 13 arrows, 13 original colonies, 13 stars, 13 stripes on the original Betsy Ross flag. Have you heard about the Betsy Ross flag? If you go look up on history.org, history.org just comes right out and tell you there's no evidence whatsoever that suggests that Betsy Ross had it, other than the fact that she was a flag maker.
She did make flags. There's no evidence whatsoever that she's the originator of this design, even though that's one of the myths that we've all been taught growing up in school. History.org goes on to continue. We do, however, have a good idea about who originated the design. Credit for that achievement may go to Francis Hopkinson, a New Jersey representative to the Continental Congress and signer of the Declaration of Independence. Hopkinson was a talented man with a strong interest in designing symbols. See, symbols conceal for those who don't have eyes to see, and they reveal for those who do have eyes to see, which means all of the iconography contained within a symbol has to harmonize with itself for it to have a coherent message. This guy is all about designing symbols. He's the guy that designed the Great Seal. Oh, okay, Great Seal. Pyramid of Egypt, Phoenix dying and resurrecting soul bird of Osiris, 13. He's the guy that designed our flag? I was in the Honor Guard, and I was the guy in the full dress blues, and I carried the American flag with tremendous pride. That was like a real honor for me to do that. And I took great care in doing it, trying to do everything right and be as sharp as I could be. I cannot even look at that thing anymore. And I certainly am not pledging allegiance to it. No. Sorry, love my country, but patriotism, at least the way it's currently defined, is idolatry. And if you really get into what that flag actually represents, especially going all the way back to its founding, I want nothing to do with it. You know, it's a lot for me to say this, that now I just can't do it. We're trying to wake people up because there's going to be a deception that the scriptures say it's going to be so powerful that even the elect can be deceived.
Now, I will say, he feels that way about the flag, or, I don't feel that way. Okay. Just because we are learning the truth about what our world is really about, we're really peeling back the layers of the deception and lies. It does not mean that we can't love our country, love our neighbors, love the people here, love the freedoms and things that we have in America. But in order to really love something, you have to know what it is, and you cannot be deceived, because that is how they operate, that by keeping us blind, by keeping us enslaved. And that's part of the way they keep us enslaved. Yes, with debt and the 9 to 5 and just so many layers, guys. I can go on and on. But as part of that enslavement is the false teachings and indoctrination that most of us have learned in school. Okay, we were programmed to believe one thing, but it is just not the truth. And this is important if you want to really peel back the layers, whether it's Epstein, which you see they're worshiping, sacrificing children to Moloch and Baal, eating children, all of those things. This has always existed. And it is very difficult for most people to digest this, but understand it's not just our country. This is around the world for all of history. The Bible talks about this over and over and over again. The Bible says that Satan is the god of this world. Remember when Satan took Jesus up onto the mount and he showed him all of the kingdoms. He said, I will give you all of this. He had the power and authority to give riches, to give powers to Jesus himself on earth. Doesn't mean that you have to understand this. I don't want to mean like Satan is more powerful than him, but how the order of how things are and how the Bible has told us that he is the one that enriches. He is the one that gives power on this demonic evil world, in this demonic evil world. Right? But Jesus was able to withstand that temptation. But the Bible is very clear about it. And once you see things like this, right, then you can understand, okay, it's not just we're just being deceived a little bit or the government's lying a little bit. No, we're talking about from the foundation of our country, really all of history. These things have been real. And that gets me to my next thing.
Somebody asked me where Freemasonry began, 1717, right? In England. But it actually began long before that. It began in the Garden of Eden. It's called Gnosticism. And the first Gnostic attempt happened in the Garden of Eden. What is the devil proposing to Eve? Eat of that and you'll have knowledge, a secret knowledge. The reason that God told you not to eat from that tree is because he doesn't want you to have that knowledge, because you'll become a god if you do. You'll become divine if you eat. That's Gnosticism. We have a secret knowledge. You can't have it all. It's secret. We'll tell it to you in stages, in degrees, and it will empower you, and you yourself will become a god. Garden of Eden, the creation story. What's changed? This is the same thing. Ask the Freemasons what their goal is. Divination. to become little gods. They are God, pantheistic also, but it's Gnosticism, and it's existed from the beginning of time.
Okay, so are you starting to understand that there's a power structure behind this whole thing? Right? And it's so many layers. And this is why I'm trying to just peel back these things, whether I'm talking about real-time events that are happening or taking you back through some history so that you guys can learn and be fully awake. Because I think a lot of people think accountability is going to happen. That somebody's going to do something that, we're going to be able to protest our way out of things. We're going to be able to, I don't know. I'm not sure what anyone's going to think that we're going to do, but understand this is so layered and stacked and most of us are just opening our eyes to it. This is end game, and it has always been the end game, right? And the final deception that they want to bring out, because I believe a lot of people believe Project Bluebeam is they're going to put that out. I don't think they're actually have the capability to put out Project Bluebeam. I think that that is the psyop releasing that information as though Project Bluebeam is going to happen, which, essentially it's going to be a way to explain when the rapture happens, why all of these people disappeared, right? So now we are seeing when all these people disappeared, they're going to say that, well, UFOs took us. UFOs took us. That is why all of this is coming out now. But it ties into this is a plan that has been in place since the beginning. All right. And I don't want people having false hope that anything's going to happen. What you're seeing in Congress now is bread and circus to keep the masses entertained. Narrow is the gate. To have your eyes open, most people don't want to hear it. They're not going to want to, it will break their brain. It's going to break them down too much because they need something physical in this world to believe in. But we know the end has always been written. And the Bible talks about these escalating times that during the times right before Jesus returns, that it will be like the time of Noah. And Noah, it didn't mean that there was just all this sin and they were just, people were, lustful and greedy and all of that. It is talking about literally that that Noah was the only person that found favor with the Lord because he was the only person whose DNA was not corrupted. When they worship Baal and Moloch and all of that, this is how it ties to Epstein. Understand, these are the ancient gods, demonic beings, fallen angels that they are worshiping and still worship to this day. And that ties directly to Masonry. Okay, so once you understand that, that is going to just once the layers peel off, it's not scary anymore. It doesn't overwhelm you anymore. You just kind of take it as fact, but it helps you weed out the nonsense, the noise, okay, the political theater that we're seeing. But it also is going to help you realize how this is tying to biblical prophecy. They are rushing for these things. They are throwing everything out there right now because even they know this is the season of Jesus Christ returning. And no man knows the day or hour, but we are instructed to know what? What are we instructed to know? We are instructed to know the season, okay? And seeing all of these things happening and piling up, well, then we know that we're in the season, not just the what's in this video. You guys know things I've been reporting on for months at this point that I felt like God opened my eyes and I needed to start talking about it. Just supernaturally overnight, I just changed everything because we are getting to an appointed end. And I think just like seeing how no one's getting prosecuted, even when evil is revealed, I think that is kind of like the door or the window that has opened a lot of people's hearts and minds to the actual truth.
Do you remember that old Carol Rosin interview where she said that Werner von Braun had told her that the last card that was going to be played on this grand global script that's playing out in front of us was the aliens card and that it was going to be a lie? I want you to check this interview out because I have just a simple announcement at the end and it's just a simple point. That's all. So here's the interview for context.
The strategy that Werner von Braun taught me was that first the Russians are going to be considered to be the enemy. In fact, when I met him in 1974, they were the enemy, the identified enemy. We were told that they had killer satellites. We were told that they were coming to get us and control us, the dirty commies, that whole story. First, the Russians were the enemy against whom we're going to build space-based weapons. Then terrorists would be identified, and that was soon to follow. We heard a lot about terrorism. Then we were going to identify third world country crazies. We now call them nations of concern. But he said that would be the third enemy against whom we would be needing to build space-based weapons. And the next enemy was asteroids. Now, at this point, he kind of chuckled the first time he said it. Asteroids, against asteroids, we're going to build space-based weapons. So it was funny then. And the funniest one of all was against what he called aliens, extraterrestrials. That would be the final card. And over and over and over during the 4 years that I knew him and was giving his speeches for him, he would bring up that last card. And remember, Carol, the last card is the alien card. We're going to have to build space-based weapons against aliens. And all of it, he said, is a lie. He didn't mention a timeline, but he said that it was going to be speeding up faster than anybody could possibly imagine. That the effort to put weapons in space was not only based on a lie, but would accelerate past the point of people even understanding it until it was already a.
Trump today started telling government agencies to prepare for the disclosure of aliens. So we'll see. That's all.
Luke 21:11, and this brings up the subject of UFOs.
I love it how you bring everything back to the Bible. This is so
Thank
good.
you, brother. Well, in Luke 21:11, Jesus was talking about signs we'll see at the very, very end of the age.
Yes.
And he said there'll be fearful sights and great signs from the heavens. That word fearful sights in Greek is the word phobotron. And anybody who knows Greek knows how it should be translated, and no one wants to translate it correctly because it is so bizarre. It is the Greek word for monsters. It literally means there shall be monsters. And Jesus is talking about the end of the age, and he connects it to the next statement, and great signs from the heavens. And the word from in Greek is the word apo. It describes things coming out of the heavens, which will be connected with the appearance of monsters. Well, Jesus said in Matthew 24:37, as it was in the days of Noah, before the flood, it's going to be replicated exactly at the end of the age. Well, what was happening before the flood? Things were coming down out of the sky, and the result was monstrous creatures. And Jesus said, that is going to be replicated again at the end of the age. So today, we have this fixation with UFOs. Now we have senatorial hearings.
Yes.
A new documentary about a big disclosure was just released. People are really talking about this. And just like Jesus said, there's a fixation on the heavens. People are looking up, but I really don't believe these are extraterrestrial beings. I believe they're interdimensional beings, spiritual beings. Just like the angels came down before the flood, things are coming down out of the heavenly realm, and the result is going to be monstrous things.
Monstrous things. Guys, this all ties all of all the things that are happening right now, guys. Digital ID. As I've told you, that is coming out. Not only is digital ID coming out, rolling out in every Western country around the world, but it's also tied into, they have the age verification laws to protect our youth, even though we have the Epstein files and no one's going after them, to protect our youth, right? And so that in order to get online, you're going to have you show your ID, but then they're going to make it cumbersome so that you have to have a digital ID to do that. And then you're going to start seeing that rolling out for banks and to get health insurance, pretty much anything in life. Bill Gates said by 2028 that if you don't have a digital ID, then you will not be able to exist in society. I've told you about the third temple, which I'm still going to do that update. I mean, the things that are happening, none of this is a coincidence. You've got to tie every single piece together. And we have never, I don't care. People say, well, people have always said these are the last days, these are the end times, and Jesus was returning and blah, blah, blah. They may have felt it at that time. They may have wanted it, but we have never in the history of humanity had everything converge at once. The mark of the beast technology is already done. I've shown you that by Bill Gates. Okay, that patch, a lot of people think it's Neuralink, but it's not. Like that's another layer that they're trying to do in order to control. But the beast system is being laid out. That's why they need all these data centers, AI data centers. It's not justified the trillions of dollars that are being spent on it. How there's now no guardrails or restrictions on AI. Okay, that was by executive order. There's a whole thing that Pete Hegseth said by Friday, Anthropic has to give the military, the government, full access to his AI, or they're going to face some serious consequences. This is all part of it so that the beast system is set up because, and then also, like I said, the aliens, because they need an explanation. Are you seeing how this is all tying together? I've told you in Vietnam, 90 million bank accounts were confiscated by the government for people who refused to do digital ID. In China, they call it Skynet. Elon Musk has worried and said that, like, there's a huge probability, and hundreds of other AI and technocrats have said that, yeah, that they're fearful that it's going to be like Skynet, essentially the beast system that is rolling out. You got to look at some of my past videos that I've done in order to get the full understanding, but this ties into the Nephilim DNA. Wow, Jeffrey Epstein, Hillary Clinton, all wanting the DNA of Gilgamesh, okay, also known as Nimrod in the Bible. These beings that existed before, when giants roamed the earth, okay, these beings are coming back. This is what the Bible says will be unleashed and let loose. So if you do not have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, you need to, because what is about to be next is the worst time in all of humanity. All of humanity, 200 million of Satan's hell riders coming out of hell. Like we've got to get into the Euphrates River. It's dried up. These are all signs that are happening simultaneously, but they are programming and getting people's minds prepped for this, but also desensitizing us for this stuff. Right? A lot of people hear about it and just like, oh, just do it. Oh, who can? It's just so much every day, but you've got to have your eyes and ears open so that you are not deceived. But with that, also I want to mention, make sure I have some new merch at realmelanieking.com. Some really great stuff that I think you guys would be interested in. I have a whole new conspiracy line that I think you're going to enjoy. While I was talking, I was just like, why am I not showing it? So I have some new stuff here in different colorways. This is a great one. It says the truth is out there. I have these for men, women. That's like a chocolate color that I've added recently in black. The blue, of course, I have my Great Awakening map. This one I think is fun. It says, did we though? This is about the moon landing. We've gone over that before. But all of the New World Order map, different colorways, and then always on the back, I have believe your eyes, not their lies. I identify as a conspiracy theorist. My pronouns are I told you so. And then I have a new redacted government document that says the truth, okay? It says the truth will be redacted in different colorways, but I have a lot going on. So if you want to support the work that I have going on here, all the research, fight against the censorship and the suppression of the views, because clearly they don't want this information out, you can head over to realmelanieking.com. The link will be in the description box below. But with that, remember to go check out the video on, this is UAP that was just caught over on Melanie off script. The link for that will also be below. But yeah, I will see you guys on the next one.